back to CNN 10. I'm Carl Azus. We've been getting a lot of questions about how long we plan to be producing our show. Our current spring season runs through Friday, May 29th. After that, we'll be off the air until Monday, August 17th. If you are a student, chances are you're watching this from home. School buildings have been closed in all 50 American states and 5 American territories, though many schools are still in session online. In at least 45 states, plus the District of Columbia, students won't be returning to campus at all for the rest of this academic year. That might wind up being the case across the entire country, though a few states may give schools the option of reopening before summer break. Students, teachers, administrators, and parents have made sacrifices to keep the learning going. They've missed out on plays, presentations, proms, graduations, sports, science fairs, book fairs, all sorts of trips and competitions. Adding to this challenge is the summer learning loss, also known as the summer setback or the summer slide. It's a time when students forget some of what they've learned during the school year, and it's expected to be worse because of coronavirus shutdowns.
I'm worried about where they will be, if they're going to be at the level they should be at when they get back into school next year. I do think the learning loss is huge.
Parents across the nation growing increasingly anxious with schools closed for months as education experts begin to warn of a possible COVID slide for students heading into summer break.
So it's kind of a double whammy of starting to forget and losing that kind of academic mindset being out of school and missing out on a couple of important months of instruction, particularly for those young kids where we know learning happens at a really fast rate.
Drawing on existing data from roughly 5 million students in 3rd through 8th grade, Megan Kufield, a research scientist at the Northwest Evaluation Association, has been using learning losses typically seen in the summer to forecast how extended school closures could cause significant backslides for students currently struggling to adapt to remote instruction.
What we saw was pretty alarming.
Kufield predicts that for students working through the toughest conditions now, come fall, they could have retained as little as 70% of their reading progress and only 50% of gains they'd made in math. Potentially serious secondary consequences of COVID-19, widening the achievement gap between wealthier and lower income students.
There's a lot of technology limitations. We know that many families don't have access to internet or a quiet place for kids to be learning.
Already, teachers like Jill Marangoni, a special ed teacher in New York, says she sees the signs of students falling behind.
5th graders that were strong writers in school who would never have turned in anything without editing it first. You see what the work they're turning in, it's missing capitals, it's missing end punctuation, run-on sentences, just lacking that quality that they had at school and that they just don't have now.
And it's not just concerned teachers and parents. Kids are stressed about school too.
I had a 2nd grader say to me, Miss M, do you think I'm going to be allowed to go to 3rd grade? Am I doing okay? It breaks your heart to think like, this is what the 7-year-old is thinking.
While the full extent of any COVID slide remains to be seen, parents like Kristen DiCarlo, a mom of 3 in Atlanta, says she hopes teachers are ready to adapt to learning losses whenever classrooms finally reopen.
School systems are going to have to pick up and recognize they can't expect a child to go from pre-algebra into algebra immediately. There's going to have to be some remediation.
Laura Jarrett, CNN, New York.
10-second trivia. Which of these words comes from a 16th century novel about a giant king? Colossal, gargantuan, prodigious, or Brobdingnagian? First known use of gargantuan followed the publication of the French literary character Gargantua in the 1500s. For today's virtual field trip, we're taking you so far off the grid you can't get there by road. And if you think, well, I'll just hop on the ferry, even that will take you 45 minutes from the nearest town. Freedom Cove is located off the coast of Vancouver Island, British Columbia, Canada. It's about 200 miles northwest of Seattle, Washington, but worlds away.
What do you say to people who just say, this is not a normal way of living?
Thank you very much.
I'm Catherine, and this is my husband, Wayne.
I'm Wayne, and welcome to Freedom Cove. We live in a secluded cove. The only options we have to get here is by water. There are no road accesses. The water is our highway.
Everything that you see here in our home is floating. We are tied to shore with lines. We are not anchored. We have our main living house. We have the dance floor, the lighthouse building, 4 greenhouses. As I started to grow the garden and make it larger, then we had to have more space for that garden.
Everything's done with a handsaw and hammer. No power tools. I know every board and nail by name. It's about 500 tons, 1 million pounds that I'm floating. I've been building tree forts since I was 7.
Yeah.
And I said, well, Dad, I'm putting a tree fort in the ocean.
Do you ever get seasick?
No, when I go to town, I get land sick.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about living in Clayoquot Sound on the west coast of Vancouver Island, it's the richest biomass on Earth. So the opportunity to fish for dinner is big. And I just can get in my canoe and paddle out in 10 minutes, I can catch a fish. But when it's windy and too rough out there, I can just lay on the couch and fish out of the house. I was hoping to make a lot more money as an artist. So subsistence living was our only opportunity to have anything as artists. We could never buy real estate, so we had to make our own. It was a great opportunity to actually move away from the city to see if we could prosper out here. Now, 24 years later, we're still doing it.
I can't imagine living any other way. I feel completely fulfilled.
Oh, that's good, huh? That's really nice. I'm working on it.
My sportscasting abilities are going to the dogs. The gate is up, Little Stretch makes a late surge, she's across in a thrilling finish. Much more energy than the last heat when Longshot had that tripping problem. Guess not every dog's a wiener. But what do professional sportscasters do when there are no live games to call?
With no opposable thumbs, high risk at this stage. And it's gone, and Mabel takes it. No mercy from the younger dog.
Now it's all about the asparagus. Courtney's got the angle. She's got the pan. It's out of here! Asparagus and potatoes! Asparagus and potatoes!
Mercy Richards, the 12-time champion with the trolley. How does she keep doing it year after year?
Here they come. They've completed lap number 5. You got Lexi in the lead. Louie tried to track her down. Here's Louie to the inside. He'll back away. Oh, Millie gets in the way. They make contact.
Crossroad dash, light turns to red. We wait for the beats. There they are now then. JD Sportsman, he's got a decent start. Leggings on the outside. Oh, JD Sportsman's been distracted over the shoulder, and Leggings is going to get there. Oh, she does it again.
That's the way to mic the best of it. When you can't use the press box, you could still use your voice box. When you can't hit the links, you could still use your larynx. So if you're aiming to strike a chord with viewers who can only watch from phone, you just take a deep breath, make the right call, and fans will be vocal in their support. Aviano Middle High School is in Aviano, Italy. We thank you for your support and commenting on our YouTube channel. I'm Carl Azus for CNN.